Welcome to Fluent Podcasts, your dedicated playlist for Learn English with podcasts. Today we're tackling a big one, a question lots of you probably ask. What really is the fastest way to learn English? Whether you feel like you're stuck, maybe trying to get from intermediate to advanced, or if you're just starting out and it all feels a bit overwhelming, well, you're definitely not alone. We're going to unpack some really effective strategies today, things that can help you speed up your English learning journey.
Yeah, we've looked at insights from various experts and pulled out some practical, actionable tips that go beyond just the usual textbook stuff. The goal here is to give you a clearer roadmap, really, to getting fluent, hopefully faster and more efficiently.
Okay, so where do we even begin when we talk about fast-tracking language learning? I mean, it feels like many people just try to, consume as much English as possible, watch movies, listen to music. But our sources seem to suggest there's maybe a more fundamental first step.
Exactly. Immersion is good, yeah. But the most crucial initial step, according to the experts we looked at, is having a very clear goal, a real target. English shouldn't just be something you learn because you feel you should. It really needs to be an instrument, like a tool to achieve something else, something you actually want. For example, one expert we read about, she found her purpose when she realized English was the only way she could chase her dream of studying in the UK. And that purpose, that passion, it made learning the language feel, well, enjoyable, not a struggle.
So connecting English learning to something personal, like a passion or a big ambition, makes it less of a chore. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And what about changing how our brains actually process English? Is there something there?
Oh, definitely. A really powerful technique, and one that's maybe overlooked sometimes, is to actively start thinking in English. So if you speak another language, instead of always translating in your head, you train your brain to identify objects or plan your day directly in English. You see a car, you think car, not the word in your first language first. It sounds simple, but doing this consistently, maybe for just say 21 days, it can actually start to rewire your brain a bit. It leads to smoother, more natural conversation, without that little pause or stutter while you translate.
Right, you're cutting out the mental translation step. That sounds way more efficient. Okay, so if we're tuning up our brains, what about our actual learning methods? We often hear read, 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 but you mentioned pronunciation earlier. Is just reading enough, especially if you want to speak well?
Well, that's the potential snag.
Yeah.
Focusing only on reading can be a problem for your pronunciation. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You might see a word, understand it perfectly on the page, but then you try to say it and it comes out wrong, which leads to miscommunication, right?
Yeah, I can imagine, like maybe technical terms or something.
Exactly. Think about trying to say some complex medical terms correctly just from reading them. It's tough. So this really highlights how vital listening is. You need to hear how words are actually said naturally by native speakers. Which brings us neatly to this idea of comprehensible input. Heard of that?
I think so, but break it down for us.
It's basically about picking up language when you understand the message, even if you don't know every single word. You get the meaning through visuals, the context, repetition. You don't necessarily need tedious grammar lessons or textbooks all the time. Imagine watching, say, real-life vlogs online. The actions, the visuals, they help you understand new words and phrases directly. And get this, some sources suggest this method is significantly more effective, maybe even up to 4 times more beneficial than standard classroom teaching.
Wow, 4 times. That's huge, because it's more like how we learn our first language, I guess.
Precisely. It taps into that natural acquisition process.
And this idea of understanding and what you actually need English for, that also helps to figure out which skills to prioritize, right? Based on our goals.
Yes, exactly. It's really crucial to think about why you need English. What's the end game? If your goal is, for example, to live and work in an English-speaking country, then it makes sense to spend, say, roughly 80% of your time on speaking and listening.
Because that's what you'll be doing most.
Right. Ordering coffee, chatting with colleagues, understanding meetings, daily life stuff. But if you're staying in your home country and maybe you need English mainly for writing academic papers or reading research, then perhaps 80% of your focus should be on reading and writing. It's about tailoring your effort to your actual needs. Makes it much more efficient.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Tailor the practice. So let's get practical. Knowing what to do is great, but fitting it into a busy week, that's the challenge. Our sources gave some pretty detailed plans, didn't they? What does a good, structured week of English learning actually look like?
Yeah, a structured daily routine can really make a massive difference. It turns it from a maybe later thing into a solid habit. One expert laid out a pretty neat daily plan, about an hour a day, Monday through Friday, balancing all the skills. So Mondays are for reading. Spend maybe 30, 40 minutes on this. Pick an English book you actually find interesting. And here's a cool tip. If you can get the same book in your native language too, you can read a chapter in English, then maybe read it again in your language to really grasp the nuances,
Yeah.
or vice versa.
Oh, that's clever, like a built-in comprehension check.
Exactly. Also, read English news, maybe articles on simple Wikipedia that uses slightly easier English, and always, always jot down new words you encounter with definitions. Make it active.
Got it. Active reading. What about Tuesday?
Tuesdays focus on writing. Again, 30, 40 minutes. A good exercise is to write, say, 5 things you did yesterday practicing past tense, and maybe 5 things you plan to do tomorrow practicing future tense. Simple stuff. You could also leave comments on English YouTube videos. That's real interaction, but low pressure. Or summarize a bit of your book, or just write about whether you liked it or not. And here's a key thing. Try reading your writing out loud afterwards.
Connecting writing to speaking practice. Nice.
Yep. Then Wednesdays are for listening. This is often the fun day. Watch your favorite English TV show. Listen to an English song you love maybe a few times. Watch YouTube videos in English. Listen to audiobooks.
Soaking it in.
Right. And if you want to work on your accent, try mimicking what the actors are saying. It's called shadowing. You repeat right after them, trying to match their sound and rhythm.
Shadowing. Okay, that sounds challenging but useful.
Yeah.
And Thursday. That must be speaking.
You got it. Thursdays are speaking days. Really prioritize active conversation for 30, 40 minutes. Now, the ideal situation, if you can swing it, is maybe hiring an online English tutor. There are platforms like Preply, Cambly, italki.
Right, for dedicated practice.
Yeah, you can chat with a native speaker about your book, the TV show, anything, just talking. And knowing you have that session booked can motivate you to study during the week, too.
Good point.
Yeah.
But what if a tutor isn't really an option for someone?
Still gotta speak. Talk to yourself out loud. Seriously. Narrate what you're doing as you cook dinner or walk around, or read your book out loud. The main thing is actually producing spoken English, making the sounds.
Okay, makes sense. Generate the language. And Friday. Wrapping up the week.
Fridays are vocabulary days. This is crucial for making things stick. Dedicate the time to review all the new words you collected during the week. Don't just glance at them. Say them out loud. Try using them in new sentences. Use tools if you like them. Quizlet, flashcards, whatever works for you to really drill them into your long-term memory.
That's a really solid weekly structure. Reading, writing, listening, speaking, and then reviewing vocab. Covers all the bases. Beyond that structured hour, though, are there any, quick wins? Little things you can do to sound more fluent quickly?
Oh, absolutely. Little tricks can make a big difference in how fluent you sound. For instance, master some common phrases. Things like, I think that, or, in my opinion, for sharing ideas. Or, what do you mean? Or, could you say that again for clarification?
Conversational building blocks?
Exactly. Also, work on linking words together. Native speakers don't usually pronounce every single word distinctly, like, I'm gonna eat, often becomes, I'm gonna eat. Or, want to becomes wanna. Practicing that makes you sound much more natural.
Right, smoothing out the edges.
Yeah, and don't be scared of filler words. Things like well or used wisely, they aren't bad. They actually make you sound more natural and they buy you a split second to think.
That's a relief. I think many learners worry about those pauses. But even with all these tips, that fear of making mistakes, of not sounding perfect, it stops so many people. How do we get past that?
That's a huge one. And the advice from the experts is pretty clear. You have to forget about perfect grammar, especially at the beginning. Seriously. Striving for perfection right away. It just slows you down. It makes you hesitate.
Analysis paralysis.
Totally. It's okay to make mistakes. Everyone does. Think about it. Mistakes are how you learn. You say something, maybe it's not quite right. You hear the response, you adjust. The absolute most important thing is just to start speaking. Get your ideas out there. Focus on communication, not perfection.
Progress over perfection. I like that. It takes the pressure off. And finally, the big challenge. Sticking with it. Consistency. How crucial is that?
Oh, it's non-negotiable. It's probably the single most important factor, honestly. Even just 15 or 20 minutes every single day is way better than one huge session on the weekend.
Little and often.
Exactly. Watch a short video, listen to a chapter of an audiobook, do one lesson from an online course, just something. Every day. Make it a habit you don't even question. And for confidence, try talking to yourself in the mirror. Sounds silly, maybe, but it helps you get comfortable hearing your own voice speaking English. You could even try tongue twisters for fun. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. It actually trains your mouth muscles and helps with speed and clarity.
Huh. Okay, maybe I'll try that later. So wrapping this up, it's clear the fastest way isn't some secret trick. It's really a mix of smart strategy, focused effort, and just being willing to go for it, right? Even if it's not perfect.
Absolutely. It starts with finding your why, that personal goal, then training your brain to think in English, prioritizing listening and speaking if that's what you need most, and then committing to that consistent, structured daily practice. It's about making English an active, hopefully enjoyable part of your actual life, building momentum.
What really stands out to you from everything we've discussed? For me, I think it's that idea of English as an instrument,
Hmm.
not just a school subject, but a tool you can use to, I don't know, build things, connect with people, open doors.
Yeah, that's a powerful way to look at it. It changes the whole dynamic.
So the final thought for everyone listening, if English is an instrument, what amazing new song are you planning to play with it? Thank you for joining us here on Fluent Podcasts. We really hope this look at learning English faster inspires you on your journey.